This is Icosalypse, a 5e Dungeons & Dragons homebrew campaign set in the realm of Masswin Dale. On behalf of all of her people, welcome. So after the events of the last episode and you guys leveled up, I want to just kind of talk about where everyone's at in the space. So you guys were kind of like in this weird, like evil camp, right? And you have this woman with you who's tongueless, and she's like terrified right now. She's kind of just like trembling. She's still like very much in shock. Is anyone going to take care of her right now? Just like console her in any way?
I was in just kind of basic consoling and stuff, but okay. I don't have any way to heal at the moment.
Right.
Unless we rested.
So you guys, I'm going to say you guys are sort of like...
I can try and hit her with a... I do believe I have healing word.
Okay. So just sort of to set the scene, Rathan has this woman sort of like... you guys are like sat down and you're like holding her, just sort of like talking to her, trying to get her to like calm down and everything, back up against a tree, just like where you feel comfortable. That's where you've taken her to try and like give her a little bit of comfort in the forest and everything. Jamira, what do you want to do? Can you heal her?
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
Okay, yeah, so you go find them. They're like leaning up against this tree, and she's just sort of shaking, like in a lot of pain. And how are you going to approach them?
I'm just going to try and like walk up to... I assume they're... Yeah, okay, well, I'm just going to try and like walk up and just put a hand on her shoulder and just be like, we're going to try and figure this out for you, okay? I'm just going to hit her with a healing word real quick.
Okay.
And that's not very good, but it's 5...
she's like a common person, so
that's a lot of
really
health.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, she had a good berry at the end of the last episode, and then you hit her for 5. So she's got these like, just like scratch marks like all over her. She's like openly bleeding, especially on her leg, Rathan. But as you touch her, like as soon as you touch her, she like trembles a little. And then, like, the heat from your body just sort of transfers through your fingers, and you can see as, like, where you touch, the color starts to come back in her skin, and then slowly starts to spread all over her body. And as it touches these, like, cuts, they start to seal up, and the blood starts running back into her if it's, like, dripping on her arm or something like that. And then eventually she's, like... pretty much fully healed, and she's like no longer shaking. She's still rattled. I mean, like her eyes are just like,
and her tongue's missing.
So. Yeah, she can't fucking talk. She's like, she's really scared.
So is there no way to heal the tongue?
There is,
but I don't have that kind of.
Do you have what kind of spells do you have, Rathan?
I mean, I have no slots left, but if I had,
since you leveled up, you would have.
Well, then, I mean, I've got. The coolest prayer, I think I've got Prayer of Healing, which is it regains 2d8 hit points to 6 people.
That's pretty cool.
So that's cool. Otherwise, I've just got your basic.
Do you have Restoration or anything?
Pretty sure I do. I've got Lesser Restoration.
Okay. Do you want to try that?
I would love to try that.
Okay.
There you go.
I'll just stick my hand right in her mouth. And...
So, actually, how are you going to do this?
I'm not going to do that.
Right.
I'll just kind of get her, like you're saying, like near the trees and stuff, and begin to pray to the goddess, and kind of, with the trees and things, kind of like, try to get the spirits out of the trees to come and rejuvenate her. Okay.
So you like sit down, sort of like crisscross, and are like praying and everything. And when you do that, when you pray to when you pray to Sylvanus, you feel like this, like at one with the world. And when you sit down, it's even more so. It's sort of like like you root yourself, and you start feeling this warm, like loving energy, and like the trees around you start to just like swirl and the leaves like rustle and everything, and it sounds like the trees are sort of like speaking to you through the wind. And you like put your hands on her face and just like let this energy seep in to her, and she like opens her mouth, and you can see that her tongue doesn't grow back all the way, but it definitely has made, it's weird, it's like this sort of green energy travels from your hands and it like seeps into her face and comes out, and you see her tongue sort of turn this like greenish color and grows back ever so slightly, but there is more of her tongue than there was. So so instead of casting restoration, like greater restoration, if you want to try and continue to cast this spell over and over again, once you get it, you think that you'll be able to help her out like that.
Can you ritual cast restoration or no? I didn't know.
Do you do anything about that? Because you walk up and you heal her, and like she looks so much better. And then like as you're doing that, Wraithen just like does what I just described. So are you gonna? Do you have any words for this or anything? Or are you just like tight?
I mean, I'd just be amazed that
you've never seen some shit like this. So
yeah, I'd probably just be speechless at that point. Yeah,
much like her.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, so
are you?
So Marsh, you're like looking around the camp for just see what the fuck's going on. I mean, like you guys just like had a battle. You're still sort of like on edge. I want you to roll a perception for me.
Nice.
Yeah, I completely missed the thing.
You got a 19.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
19.
If you had hit it, it probably wouldn't have been a 19.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's
the headphone cord Lily rolled it backwards.
No.
excellent. That's 24.
24. Perfect. So you're like looking around this like camp, and you feel this like sort of, I mean, everything you think is dead, but it's still like there's this like dark energy about this place. It is not fun to be here. And as you're looking around, out of the corner of your like right eye, like to your right, you see in your peripherals this like giant Maine Coon cat that's like this weird, like the color of it is like this weird like purple and blue, and it sort of looks like like every like fur on it, like all the hair on it is like tipped with like a star, and it's just kind of like looking at you at the like looking down at you. It's like in a tree. And I would say picture the biggest Maine Coon cat you've ever seen on the internet or in real life. It is double that size, and it's just sort of like sitting in a tree, just like, you know, just like a regular cat, just like, you know, just like boop, just sitting there. And it looks at you and just starts to like, it like licks its paw and then like, you know, cleans its face, just sort of like in wait for you.
I'm going to hesitantly walk over to it.
Okay. It just stays still, you know, it's like cleaning its face and just like continues to sort of like clean itself. And as you approach it, how close do you want to get?
Maybe about just right up, like right underneath it. Not underneath of it, but like, you know.
Right.
About a foot.
Okay.
Away from it.
So as you walk up and you stop, it hops down and the ground sort of like shakes a little bit, just like, and it starts to do the cat thing with your legs. You know, it's just like rubbing up against your legs and stuff. Well, really like your waist, more like. And you hear it speak to you. Shimmer beyond the marsh, is it?
Yeah, that's me.
I've been watching you, and I've been watching your friends. I really like your work.
Oh, thanks.
It seems that you've come to a very important fork in the road, so to speak. Multiple paths that you can take. And I'm here to sort of help you decide on what you would like to do.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that I was in any kind of path, but all right.
Well, everyone is on a path.
What kind of path am I on?
Well, from what I've seen, you're very curious tabaxi. And do your people not speak of me often? You seem rather surprised to see me. I don't show myself to very many people, but you seem to be on a path that is, I like it, and I want to help you. And it seems that you have found a way to be able to cast magic, which is very impressive. Not very many tabaxi can do what you have been doing, but I like the way that you've been working around in Maswindale.
Oh, well, thanks. Are you the Cat Lord?
Of course.
Wow. I did not think I was ever going to meet the Cat Lord. This is pretty awesome.
Well, not very many people do things that I care too much to notice, really. People are rather boring, you know.
Yeah.
You are not. Neither are your friends. But I care less about your friends than I do you.
Yeah, me too.
So, you seem very interested in magic.
Yeah.
Quite interested.
Yeah.
So much so that it could get you in trouble one day. However, normally things that get you into trouble are normally the most fun things to do.
Agreed.
So, Marsh, there's some things I can help you with, powers that I can bestow you with. You understand?
Mm-hmm. Yes. 'Cause you're the Cat Lord.
Yes. So, come with me, if you will. And he starts to walk forward. If you start to follow him, it looks like you are walking. At first, you're walking, and it starts to turn into like a sort of like desert where you're walking. And then, like, at one point, you close your eyes to blink and open them up, and you are in like this desert area. And you see this orc, and he is like he's got like a giant fucking bow on his back, and he's got this huge hammer in one of his hands, and he's like, the Cat Lord is like, so this is one of the paths that you can choose to take. Obviously, you're not going to turn into an orc or anything. This is just a different plane of existence, if you will. And out of the ground, this fucking huge like worm pops out of the ground and starts to try and attack this orc. And this orc like throws his hammer down and takes out his bow and starts just like fighting this this giant monster. And you watch for like, 10-15 minutes, and like he goes from shooting his bow to running over and grabbing this giant weapon that he's got and starts attacking this worm. And eventually, after this like long combat, he slays this huge worm. And the Cat Lord says, this is one of the paths you can choose to take if you wish. It is a sort of monster slayer class, if you will. It helps you, you would be gifted with power that would help you find these creatures and be able to destroy them if need be. And then you guys start to walk off again, and the desert starts to turn into grass again, and the same sort of thing where you like walk past a tree, and you're in this forest, and you see this elf, this high elf, and you see him like it's this male, and he walks up to like this bear that seems to be like trying, it like wants to attack him at first, and then like the elf puts his hand out, and the bear starts to calm down, and then he walks over to it and sort of like pets it on its head and starts